Question in the forum, I'll direct this one to Elizabeth. When you're going out and trying to find schools, sometimes I know the schools that I had Prac-E, there just wasn't any placements in my internship. I know uni was saying, make sure you nail the internship because most often than not, you'll get a job offer. It just didn't seem to, they were going in another direction. There wasn't a vacancy and I was just pushed into the pond basically without any floaties. And I didn't know where to go for jobs, when to apply, how to apply, whether to go through Seek or LinkedIn or network or just cold call people out of the blue. How do you present yourself as a young teacher and how do you get the best employment opportunities in that silly season kind of term 3-ish, term 4-ish kind of area? How do you present yourself the best and how do you get your foot in a school that may potentially be hiring?
This is only my personal experience. Other people might have different ways they approach jobs. LinkedIn is your absolute best friend. LinkedIn's fantastic because more often than not, your employer will go straight there. Another thing is having just a really clear, simple cover letter that actually speaks to the school's values and codes and their ethos as well. And I know this is going to sound silly, again, common sense, but please proofread. Like again and again and get everyone you know to proofread your cover letter. The amount of times I've seen HR, I've honestly seen this happen, have a look at someone's cover letter, there's a spelling mistake on it, just throw it out. It happens. You're stressed, you might be applying for jobs. I remember applying for jobs around the same time exams were, the end of semester 2, so your brain's everywhere. Don't have silly little mistakes. And as I said in my opening little spiel as well, email HR of all the schools. Seek is fantastic, but read it really carefully, read their job description. Some places only want you to apply through Seek. Others say just respond via email. So make sure you do what they ask you to do as well. Calling schools is okay, but you need to be very careful about how you do it. Make sure you call, obviously, the front office first is the best way to go and say, you know, I'd like to apply. Whereabouts would you like me to direct my resume? I would be wary of just turning up with a resume as well sometimes, especially during, you know, the end of school year when it's very busy. Just be mindful of how you present yourself and how you actually contact the school and what's appropriate. If that answers your question.
Talking about checking your resume, I heard of a horror story where someone thought they'd be quite smart and make like an algorithm for their resume where they could just click the different schools and have a different type of resume that they could all send out at once. Needless to say, the algorithm didn't work. And what came through was, it's always been my passion to work at BBC, Brisbane Grammar, Churchie. It was all the schools they put in the algorithm at once.
Can I also add, check your Facebook page. Because if you haven't got that as private, it's your right to post whatever you want on your Facebook page. But just be aware that that represents who you are. And if you think that people don't check it, you're kidding yourself.
Scott, you have a comment?
Please learn from Israel Folau, all right? Social media is not your friend at times, and you've got to be very, very careful. This is the very first thing that gets looked at, all right? Any employer worth their salt is going to look at your social media. That's just a fact, all right? And use your Prac. If you're on a Prac in a school that you really like, use that as an extended interview. You know what I mean? Look at it and go, that's a 6-week interview, essentially, all right? Schools notoriously, if they've got someone on the books already they like, that's good. All right?
Yeah. Sorry.
We've got time for one more question.
Yeah, that was very old school. I'm sorry. I'm an old person, so check your Insta. Whatever you are using. Just from a state school point of view, the Teach Queensland site is the place to sort of make your links through. But Scott's right, as far as your practicums and internships, if they're still existing, are absolutely your best trial in the school, and Brisbane schools use that extensively. If you want, and it's probably for you guys, if you're 4th years, it's probably too late, but if you want a country practicum experience or a beyond the range grant, so you can actually be funded to go. My son drove to and from Tully twice for Prac and internship in his 4th year, but he knew he'd already been appointed in March of his 4th year to Tully for the following year. So he knew he was going to the school where he was doing his Prac and internship, and he was going to be teaching the following year. So the Teach Queensland site is certainly a place you need to be connecting through. That process, they're making offers now. All of our techies, our 82 techies, all know exactly where they're teaching next year.